Look, a boar.
A spider.
It's a dire wolf.
No, it's a dire wolf type.
No, that's a wasp.
Look, a wasp.
That's a treasure chest.
A shroomin.
No, that's a Shroomman. The demo starts immediately with Mr. Mushroom Head. He's silent, but don't worry, he can really use his head, like for important dialogue choices. Yeah, look at him go. You start the tutorial while some characters yap in the background and you make your way to meet them. But before you can even reach them, they end up dying. But don't worry, in this point of the game, it's still in the beta for the ASAO game, so dying inside the game doesn't really matter and they're just noobs. You then couple up with this guy and you will pretty much speak for you for the remaining of the demo.
So I wasn't the first one to get here.
Let's talk gameplay. The combat system is fairly simple but somewhat unpolished. You can move around, jump and dodge. You have light and heavy attacks. Heavy attacks can be charged. And there's also a different heavy attack if you use it at the end of the normal attack combo. You can also jump attack and dash attack, which the game calls extra attacks. Unlike Souls games, you cannot rotate your character between combo attacks, which contributes to that unpolished feeling. There's also a snap to target rotation when starting a new combo chain, which makes it feel more casual as it helps you kinda aim at the target. At this point you might be thinking, why are you even comparing this game to Dark Souls? And one big reason for that is the resting area, which replenishes your flask, heals you, and respawns all the enemies. There are more reasons, but we'll get to them later on. Back to the gameplay. You have a defensive block that can parry if timed right, and can be followed up with a counterattack. You also have weapon skills which use mana and have a cooldown, and they're dependent on the type of weapon you use. You can get more skills by using the weapon more and raising its proficiency level. You also have skills that are used by your NPC companion and are dependent on the NPC you bring with you. This skill costs something called SP and they recharge by you attacking the enemies. I'm not sure if it's by the damage you do, I don't think it is, I think it's actually the amount of times you attack the enemy. Currently the demo only has one selectable NPC and the rest depends on the quest, so you may actually go out with 2 NPCs if the quest has another NPC with it. There's also a prompt for countering that appears when fighting certain bosses, but you usually just button mash and spam skills until that enemy dies, and there's not much point of doing that anyway. Your NPC companion has 2 modes, free mode and switch mode. The NPC also has a focus bar which determines how good the NPC would be at dodging and defending itself. Basically, when that focus bar drains, the NPC has more chance of getting hit. In free mode, the NPC would attack more, but their focus gets drained, and also the NPC starts yapping about how tired he is.
Guess I'm a little tired.
In switch mode, they don't get focus drained, but they don't attack as much. The tutorial has 2 bosses, and the second one is one of the coolest bosses in the game in my opinion. This boss has 2 phases, and to move to the second phase you need to dismember his leg, which changes the way he moves, the way he attacks, and honestly he's one of the most unique bosses I've encountered in this demo. And it's a shame he's the only one that's built like this. Finally, when you finish the tutorial you get to level up. Up until now, no enemy dying actually gave you any experience in the tutorial, which is a pretty weird decision in my opinion. After the tutorial, you get sent to the town. The NPCs yap some more and explain the different areas of the town. Basically, you have 4 areas. The chest, which is the only place you can equip items or use your level up stat points. Leveling up stats to certain thresholds gives you bonus modifiers. I really like this little concept. It makes stats a bit better and more unique. However, you are still kind of confined with the type of weapon you choose to the type of stat you need for it to scale. For example, I wanted the agility because it gives you higher attack speed. So I needed to find an agility scaling weapon, which I found later, rapier with a relatively high base damage. So it kind of worked out well. But still, the modifiers are nice, but you're still kind of locked into a certain weapon type. The next area is the blacksmith NPC, which is where you can upgrade and craft weapons and armor. The item vendor, which sells and buys consumables and also allows you to craft consumables. And the last area is the quest starting stone area, which is where you actually go to the gameplay area from. This entire city is similar to these 4 areas, and the game, knowing that, just lets you teleport between them because it knows there's nothing else to do here. At least that's how it is in the demo. Finally, after all the explaining, you can start a quest and get to explore the outside. Each quest has its own map, while some quests share the same map. It's not an open world, but when you unlock certain shortcuts, they remain unlocked. Visually speaking, the environment looks very static. There's no swinging trees or winds or plants that react to your character moving next to them. There's also some LED popping here and there, and while the level design itself is okay, the asset, shaders, and post-process just aren't great. The same goes for the characters. They aren't really high quality. I expect more from a AAA game at this price range. Let's talk exploration. The exploration works like a Ubisoft type game. The map starts blank, and when you reach a resting area, that uncovers the map and marks all the treasure chests on the map, which are completely optional. All you really are ever required to do is do the main quest, which sometimes require opening up certain paths, but that's about it.
Treasure! You're looting it, right?
So what do chests give you?
I spy a treasure chest.
You mean
Treasure.
other than
You're
the
looting it, right?
joy of hearing the NPCs pointing out there's a treasure nearby?
I spy a treasure chest.
Chests can give consumables, crafting materials, money, crafting recipes for the blacksmith, or rarely an actual items which you cannot equip until you return to the chest in town.
A treasure chest. Wanna open it?
Look, a treasure chest.
A treasure
And
chest.
yeah, when
Wanna
you
open it?
have 2 NPCs, sometimes both of them point out there's a chest
A treasure chest.
that needs looting.
A treasure chest. Wanna open it?
Nah, I'll double it and give it to the next person. While roaming around and fighting monsters, there are also spots with stronger enemies, like this titty boar, which is just the stronger version of the normal boar. There are also places called arcs, where you summon a boss to open up a path on the map. These enemies do stand out more than the regular enemies you encounter freely, but they also don't offer a really exciting gameplay, and you just smash buttons until they die.
Look, an arc. Nice, a treasure chest.
The combat genuinely feels unpolished. The parry doesn't really work that great, nor does last second dodging. The lack of rotation while comboing. Enemies not really telegraphing their attacks in a good way. or suddenly snapping to your direction as soon as their attack about to execute. There are also treasure spots blocked by obstacles, where you need specific consumables to clear the obstacles. Which means if you didn't bring them with you at the start of the mission, you need to go back home through the resting area and either hope you got them in your chest or hope the item merchant sells them or lets you craft them. I honestly don't understand why they didn't just use certain skills to unlock these areas, like use a flame attack or something to burn the brambles, use a blunt attack to destroy the boulders. This is such an odd mechanic to bind to consumables, especially when you limit the amount of type of consumables you can take out with you and their quantity.
Looting it, right?
There's also procedural dungeons, which supposedly build up differently every time, but from what I've seen, it was exactly the same, and the dungeon itself wasn't really rewarding.
No worries.
There were some treasure chests that were blocked behind paths that required consumables to enter, and they just gave consumables or crafting materials. It didn't really feel like there was a point in exploring the dungeon. But maybe this is an endgame type thing, where you need a lot of crafting materials and you go inside of it to grind for them. I don't know. I think this game kinda misses the whole SAO feeling. It doesn't really feel like it's an MMO. Everything feels instance because it's just you and the NPCs you came in with. I'm assuming that in the full game there will probably be some quest that shows other NPCs from outside your party as well, but that's not what I'm talking about. I would have liked to see NPCs fighting monsters out in the map. The game would have probably been better with a seamless map instead of this quest selection to a specific area type thing, which would work better if at the end of the area there were some staircases leading you to the next level of the tower, reminding you this huge area is just one level of the tower. Also, have things that advance the map for you more than just beat a boss, unlock a path. Like an actual MMO would have you go kill a boar, get its tusk that unlocks a secret area. Inside you have some puzzle to solve and then you get actual loot, which you can equip immediately instead of being forced to go back to town. One of the best feelings MMO used to have were being overwhelmed by a lot of enemies, leveling up right before dying and getting healed from it. Then equipping some gear you were previously level restricted and absolutely demolishing the enemies afterwards. Or going back to a low level area and demolishing the enemy cause now you're OP for their levels. This game keeps enemies at your level at all times. And it just misses out on the feeling that makes MMOs feel good. The strange mix of Dark Souls doesn't work. They honestly should have just went with a combat system similar to something like Devil May Cry or Nier Automata. It's simple but fun, and you mix in the leveling up aspect and gear, and that's it. You don't need something more than that. Also, the NPCs really talk a lot. Every time you enter combat, every time you leave combat, every time they see a chest, and this happens non-stop. And you could turn off the audio for the character speaking, but then you won't hear them talk in cutscenes or when they actually talk to advance the story, like how they interact with one another. There's no way to just get rid of the static noise. Here's a little example for how much they speak in a short duration.
No worries. Right beside you. A shroomin'. Let's take it down.
Guess that's it.
There. A shroomin'.
We beat it!
All in all, it's not a terrible game. If I was much younger, I would probably enjoy this, but for me, it's
A bore.
out of 10.
Guess that's it.
That's it. Video over. Drop a sub and like, and bye-bye.